Welcome back. Today in our Sunday Spotlight, Connecticut's new Teacher of the Year. On October 24th, the governor and others surprised fourth grade teacher Kiana Foster-Mauro at the Nathan Hale Arts Magnet School in New London, where she teaches. We're happy to have her here in Studio A with us today. Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So the governor walks into your classroom. What are you thinking?
Right. I knew before that this was coming. It was very exciting. I had received a call a few weeks earlier, actually when I was teaching one of my dance classes. So I had to step out of class. I got the news. I was told I had to keep it very hush-hush. And I wanted nothing more than just go tell my students. But I had to keep it on the down low. So it was really exciting to celebrate on that day with the governor and my colleagues and students.
Well, and you know, in your district, in your school, across our state, how many men and women get up every day and go in and educate kids. To be the Teacher of the Year, what does it mean to you?
It's just an overwhelming honor. There are so many incredible educators within my district, within our state altogether, that I'm inspired by, that I see every day working just as hard, if not harder than I do. So to have been selected to be the representative of all of these incredible people is a huge, huge honor.
I looked at the governor's press release about you, and he talks throughout the press release about, you know, your commitment to diversity and diversity in education. But I thought it was interesting. The very first thing the governor says about you is that you're a black biracial woman who understands diversity. First thing, is it as important to you as it was to the governor to have that identity? Oh,
absolutely. My identity, I've always been very proud and firm in my identity. It shaped my own educational career, growing up in the school systems, how I experienced schooling. It was very different because of that identity. And then as I stepped into the career of education, you know, I attended the University of Connecticut, and that identity really shaped my career path moving forward. I worked as part of the organization Leadership and Diversity to try to diversify the field of education. Across the country and within our state, there's a huge disparity in the number of educators of color versus the number of students of color. So it's always been really important for me to take those experiences that I've had and bring them into the classroom to connect with students, connect with their family, and then hopefully open up their eyes to the world around us a little bit more.
Well, and certainly the more you can connect with those students, and like you say, the families too, it is a benefit to their education. But are you hoping that maybe some of them say, I want to be like you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, at the announcement, I had a few of my students excitedly share with the governor and other officials that were there that they want to be educators too. So, of course, I would love for, you know, the people that are standing at the front of the room, the educators, to look just like the students that I see in front of me and to see them go on that path one day as well.
You mentioned that you got the call while you're teaching dance, so you do that as well. You teach fourth grade. You teach dance. Is it just something that's part of your being, your soul, that you just want to teach people stuff? Right.
I've always loved learning and being around learning. My mom's a professor. I've always been around education and educators, and I've found a lot of joy in learning. So I've always wanted to be in the field of education because of that. So to be able to go to these different environments, whether it's a classroom or a dance studio, and to help others find that magic in learning that I've found, it's the best job.
Somebody might say, you know, looking at this from 40,000 feet, you know, you went to a great school like UConn, you just said your mom's a professor. You could go somewhere where teaching's easier. Do you think if somebody said that to you, right? I mean, wouldn't there be cities and settings and places where it might be an easier job, or do you think that's misguided?
Sure. I mean, I think there are different challenges, different hurdles, no matter where you go, and that's going to present in different ways depending on where you're working. I always knew I wanted to work in New London and at the school that I work at. You know, to have the arts focus, to have a diverse population, that was really important to me. And I work with some of the best people I know, so I feel really happy and lucky to be where I am.
We only have a couple minutes left, but let's just talk about being a teacher.
Absolutely.
It's not an easy time to be a teacher. No. Resources aren't maybe what you want. The job is demanding. We've seen some of these studies saying that people are thinking about just quitting and going and doing something else. What's your take on that?
I'm sure. I mean, I think, you know, every year there's new challenges, and certainly we're still recovering post-pandemic, and, you know, we're seeing new challenges as students are also adjusting. And so I think more than ever, it's really important for us to ground ourselves in our communities that are around us, to connect with those community resources outside of the school, but also within the building, and making sure that we're taking more time to connect with each other and students and support each other in those ways.
Are there ways that the state, the town, the school district could do more to support teachers?
Of course. I mean, I think, in terms of funding always, right, increased funding means increased supports, for mental health, both for students and for faculty and staff, and increased resources, allows teachers to focus more on the connections and the lessons that they're teaching rather than trying to scramble to get other things together. So, of course, I think in those ways as well.
Just one last question.
Yeah.
So what's next for our 2024 National Teacher, it's Connecticut Teacher There? The national contest is coming up, and then what's next for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be going around the state, hopefully meeting others in other communities, connecting with more students, more teachers, and trying to celebrate this wonderful community that we have in this state.
And hopefully inspiring some kids and some teachers and lots of other people about all your accomplishments.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, certainly the kids at Nathan Hale are very lucky to have you. And I look forward to hearing about all your journey across the state. And like you said, if a couple little kids would come up to the governor and say they want to be just like you, that's a pretty good compliment.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, appreciate it. Kiana Foster-Mauro, Connecticut's Teacher of the Year for 2024. Thank you so much for being with us here on CT23.
Thank you for having me.
That is CT23 for this week. CBS Sunday Morning, of course, is next. Have a great rest of your weekend. Of course, we've got all this election news coming up throughout the week. We'll be back here next week with a recap. But in the meantime, you can, of course, stick with Eyewitness News all week long for the very latest from Bridgeport and around the state. We'll meet you back here for our next episode of CT23. It's coming up next Sunday morning right here in Studio A.